Hello and welcome. My name is Anastasia Zatula. I'm a Reiki master, NLP master, and today I'm going to talk about how to deal with your destructive feelings, how to heal them, how to stop having them. Now, I'm going to talk particularly about some feelings like anger, envy, jealousy, depression, self-sabotaging. If you have any other feelings that you want me to analyze, I can do that as well. You can just put them in the comments. Now, why I decided to do this video is because we all have these feelings and we need to get to the root of the feelings, you see, because they are somewhat destructive. They're damaging, our lives. They're damaging our experience in lives, and they all can be healed very fast. Now, I also had some of these damaging emotions, feelings, destructive even in my life, and I was able to get rid of them. To sum it up, this whole kind of conversation is basically any of these feelings are a lack of self-love, a lack of self-love for your inner child. Now, people, if you notice, people that were loved when they were little, people that are so self-assured, that are so loved by others, they usually don't have any of these feelings. They are never envious, they're never jealous, they never feel anger, they don't self-sabotage, they believe they're perfect, they always do what they want to do. So for the most part, it's just a lack of self-love. It is your inner child, and your inner child that is suffering. So, and how does it start? How does it usually start? It's when you were a little kid and something was not given to you, and you grew up with that feeling, and right now you're not giving it to yourself. For example, you grew up with 6 siblings, and let's imagine you didn't have too many toys, and so you had a particular one toy that you were really you really liked that toy, and it was your toy, and it was bringing you some kind of satisfaction and pleasure. And then maybe your sister took that toy, or maybe you were forced to give it as a gift, that toy, to your neighbor's kid or something like that. And now, you lost that source of happiness, and you feel very unworthy, and you feel very jealous of that particular kid, maybe your sister, maybe your brother, maybe that other neighboring kid, because that somebody took your source of joy, source of the source of your happiness. Now, envy comes when you are comparing your inner child to somebody else's inner child. For example, maybe you grew up when you were a little kid and your parents were always not exactly happy with your results, so maybe they thought you can do better, and they would compare you to, to your cousins, to your brothers, sisters, or somebody else. Remember, if you have a little child right now, not you inside of you, but you have children, remember, when you punish a kid, the kid does not stop loving you, the kid stops loving himself or herself. So before you punish, think twice, because that would not do nothing. I mean, you will just destroy the inner child within your child. So don't do that, and heal your own child instead of hurting your own little kid. Now let's go through a few of them. I will explain what they mean, and then I will give you steps of how you can get rid of these feelings. Obviously, you could not live with them. These feelings are really damaging. They damage not only your life, they damage your overall experience, your development as well. You see, if you will not get rid of jealousy in any relationship, you will constantly suffer from it. You will self-sabotage your relationship, and you will be always somewhat crippled. That is not right. Your development should be an enjoyable kind of experience. Yeah, you will never fully get rid of these feelings, but at least you will know how to navigate through that with them. I had some of them, and I will tell you which ones were mine. Now, the first one is envy. I never really was envious. Why? Maybe because I'm the oldest child, so I never really was compared to nobody. My parents never compared anybody to nobody. I guess they compare my brother to me because I was a little more consistent with my studies, even though my brother also studied really well. But for the most part, I was not, I don't have envy, and also I don't have envy because I don't have masculine energy. Masculinity is something that strives on ego, and if you are not praising that ego, it starts suffering. So like I have clients that are masculine. I also have men that are very masculine in my life, and I noticed that they do have envy. Why? Because of their masculinity in childhood was not praised. So this is what happens. You basically right now you are comparing your little child to somebody else's little child. So for example, let's imagine I have envy. So I'm meeting my friend, and my friend is very slender, very tall, something that neither I'm, and I'm like looking at my friend, I'm like, oh my God, she's so slender, she's so tall. So I'm basically, if I'm envious, I'm telling my little child inside, you're not as good as her little child, and that's where my little child is hurt, and the envy starts coming out. It's my little child inside, feeling the lack of love, feeling the comparison, feeling that it needs to compete with another little child for my love, for a little bit of my love, you see? And that's how perverted and sick it is. My child, the little child inside of me, competing with somebody else's little child for a little bit of my love. Now, if I would just admire, I mean, I have friends that are slender. I'm from such a background. Everybody, my sister is a ballerina. She's tall and slender. Now, I admire all of them, but I love my body too, because my body is my body, and I don't know whether I want to be that skinny and that slender, or tall. I mean, I'm so used to live in my own body that I guess I'm not sure how I would feel being tall and slender. I don't know if it would be even me. So what I want to say is that thankfully I never had this destructive feeling, but I know people who have those feelings, especially if you have a lot of Leo placements. Envy is something you live with. I had a friend, she had a lot of Leo placements, and she said envy is something that will kill me one day. Like she couldn't. She was telling, I'm envious about this with this person. I'm envious about that with that person. Like the envy was constant. I'm like, are you envious about with me about something? And she's like, so many things you couldn't even imagine. But I respected her because she would admit it. She admitted her faults. Now at that time, when she was my friend, I didn't know how to help her because I was not really yet working with energy. I did not work with mind. I didn't know really. I respect her that she was honest, but I didn't know how to help her, and even whether I should help her or not. But that's what she was. And you see, she was born in such a family. Her father died very, very, very young. I don't think she even knew her father. And she died very early. When she finally knew him, he was so she didn't really had communication with the father. Now, but her mom was always kind of wanting the best for her, so she was always comparing her to others, and she basically had to fight for the love of her mom. And right now she grew up, and her inner child till now fights for the love of her over somebody else. So this is right now maybe I could even help her, honestly. Now the next one is jealousy. Oh my God, I had this feeling. I did it. I honestly had this feeling for some time. Sometimes it comes off, resurface, but I'm like really, really mildly. But jealousy is the feeling when you are afraid that something that brings you pleasure will be taken away, or something that gives you security. So something that you need very, very much might be taken away from you. That's when the jealousy comes. Why did I have jealousy? I have a younger brother and a younger sister, and I love them obviously, but they were born after me, and I guess maybe at some point my parents were never very affectionate, so maybe I was I'm not sure, maybe I was afraid that I'm sharing my love with them, that there won't be much love left for me. And since my parents were not very affectionate, I was afraid that there wouldn't be even less affection. But I always made sure that everything was divided evenly. that my mom would not spend time more with somebody, with any of my siblings. It was crazy. But when I grew up, but you see, if my parents would be more affectionate, maybe I wouldn't even care about that. If they would give like a lot of affection to all of us, it would be I might have not even felt like this. Now when I grew up, obviously I was jealous too, for the same reason, and mostly I was jealous of not other women, but of, for example, relatives. So I would attract men that had significant people in their lives, like parents, or maybe some sisters or brothers, or some nephews and nieces or cousins. These were not even their children, but some random people in their, well, not random, but their family members that would need their attentions. And I was very jealous of those people that are, you know, they were just there. They were not my threat. You see, I was not jealous of other women. That's actually so funny, because honestly, I never was really jealous of other women. But even though some men did cheat on me, I was jealous of really people that were closer to the home. So and I was suffering with that, because I believe that my man would spend more time, or was smiling more. I remember I had this fight with the guy, and I told him, when you talk to your family, you're always so funny and so happy and so optimistic, but when you talk to me, it's always everything is black and gray. And you see, I was jealous because he was smiling more to his family. It was like, is it even normal? But I was able to overcome that, and I'm sure you will all also. Doesn't mean, as I said, doesn't mean that it doesn't resurface. It does periodically, but I know how to deal with that, and you will also. Another one is anxiousness. Anxiousness comes when your inner child doesn't believe that the parents will protect you. For example, it could have been something like you were a little kid, and maybe your parents told you, go to kindergarten by yourself, and you're like afraid, you know. What if somebody will do something? What if there will be some monster at the end of the street? But yet you had to, and this is how the anxiousness starts. Or maybe your parents left you. Your mom went to the store and left you, like our mom used to leave us. I mean, it was not like a big deal, and you were lost, you know. Or the biggest fear of all, you're staying in the store and your mom put you in line and went to grab something else, and you're like, the line is getting closer and your mom is nowhere to be found also. So the anxiousness is basically the child inside of you. It doesn't believe that it could be protected, that it will be protected in time, and that's usually it also happened with kids that had absent parents, or parents that were not very supportive, parents that were much into themselves, like parents that were I think everybody in my generation maybe had such kind of parents, but and that's why maybe millennials are so anxious, all of them. But that's what was happening for the most part. These the children that were left alone too early in their life. You know, they were on their own without much support, and the inner child right now knows that what will happen, who is going to support me. This is anxiousness. Greed is like envy. Greed is different though. Envy is you comparing your inner child to another inner child. Jealousy is you're afraid that somebody will take what gives you comfort. Greed is something even deeper. You are afraid, so you don't give enough yourself, and you're afraid that somebody else will take even that. Usually, like for example, I will give you an example. You never buy yourself anything, you save in every penny, and then you're invited to the birthday, and you bought, you know, and you know that person that you invited to the birthday is kind of spoiled, so you need to buy a decent present, otherwise people will think something about you. So you never bought yourself nothing more expensive than $100, but yet you're buying this person a perfume for $300. You never own a perfume for $300, but yet you're buying another person's $300. This is what when greed comes off, when you are treating your inner child, when you're not giving your inner child what others receive, you see. And this is quite common. It's just a lot of people are not admitting that. And that's why I always say, don't give others more than you give yourself. Like, I have clients, and sometimes they say, oh, I have to go to this birthday, I need to buy a birthday present, I need to buy flowers, I need to chip in for the dinner, you know, that's like $500 at least. And you know, and I could not really afford that much right now. And I tell them, then don't give nothing, don't go to the birthday, don't give it, tell the person, listen, it's not in the budget, it's something. I mean, because you could not, your inner child will feel that, and what are you going to do? You're just betraying yourself. But we were treated, so we were brought up in a way that it's okay to kind of sacrifice yourself for the benefit of others, which is wrong, obviously. But was our upbringing. You know how, not in my family, but I remember some of my friends, if there are guests coming, they would get like the best china, and you know, like they would wear the best clothes or something. But when it's just family, they would eat from like mismatched china and so. I mean, and yeah, that's the time we used to live in. Now that was me. Greed. I never had envy, but greed was periodically raising in me. And it is so funny because I'm a pretty generous person, but I remember the moments when greed was active in me. It's the moments when I couldn't really give myself what I wanted, but yet I was kind of pushed to give it to somebody else, and I couldn't. I was like, I was angry, and this is a look. I even put here. I'm usually pretty generous, but once I start working with my energy, I started getting these waves of absolute greed. You see, before I start working with my energy, I was like, yeah, that's okay, you know, maybe I don't get nothing, but at least I can buy others something, you know, like this. Like, I was happy from giving things to others. But when I start working with my energy and I start healing myself, I would have these waves of greed, like something would just, it was just crazy, you know. Somebody would ask me to buy them coffee, and I would like get all angry for $3, you know, and I couldn't understand what's happening with me. I mean, the girl who is always so generous, so like everything for the others, suddenly becoming this this Scrooge McDuck. So I was getting, and I was, remember, was talking to my mentor. And I remember I was shameful. It was shameful for me to admit it, but I had to go to the birthday, and you know, you can't just show up to a birthday with nothing. You have to buy flowers. You couldn't just buy regular flowers. You have to buy decent flowers. So that's at least $100, and then you have to buy some kind of present, and the present has to be somewhat, you know, like you couldn't just buy. Like, I was in the company where people were somewhat spoiled, so you had to buy decent. And I remember I was sitting and I was talking to her. I was in the car, and I was like, listen, you know, I don't know what to do with myself. I want to go to this birthday. I really do like this girl. I really, you know, we're friends. I always, but I feel like, you know, like I don't want to spend $1. I don't want to spend anything on her, but I do want to wish her happy birthday. And she asked me, so she couldn't understand also, and she asked me, what are you going to buy her? And I'm like, a perfume. It was, I think, one of the new perfumes, and she's like, would you buy yourself this perfume? And I'm like, no, this is a little out of my budget. And she said, that's why because you do not allow yourself, your inner child, to experience what you're giving to another inner child. You know, it's like, it's very strange. So you're giving to another child a cake, and you're telling your child, you know, now, you know what, we can't really afford the cake. I mean, is it normal? So, but that's what it is. And for the most part, I tell my clients the same thing I tell myself. And I also do this: if I could not buy myself the same thing, I'm not buying it for anybody else. And I don't really care what people think about me. You see, when I go to birthdays, well, lately I didn't go because I was traveling, but if I'm going to a birthday, I'm buying whatever I can, whatever I buy myself. So flowers, I always have flowers. If I'm not traveling around, I always have flowers. I always receive flowers. Flowers are something that are in my budget, and I'm easily splurge on flowers on different price ranges, so to say. So I buy flowers. I have no issues. Now the presents, well, it depends on the, you know, the other person and their expectation. I mean, their expectation could be $1,000 present. If I am buying myself something within $1,000 range, maybe I can buy them. But like, I would not do it. I would not force myself to give somebody something I wouldn't give myself, and that's just how it is. You know, if I don't need to go to the birthday, I wouldn't go even. This is greed. Greed is actually a very popular destructive feeling. A lot of people could not admit it though. Why? Because it was very punishable when we were children. It was absolutely shameful to be like this, like, especially if you're from a very hospitable kind of environment, and you know, like, you were probably ashamed if you would not want to give somebody something. That was wrong. Like, for example, when I was little, we had birthdays. We didn't have cake at home. We would have a cake that we would take to school or kindergarten, and we would share with all our friends. But maybe my inner child wanted to eat the whole cake by myself, you see. But it was just an environment I was brought up in. It was normal. It was part of my life. The thing is that right now I'm a grown up and I can easily change it, and I'm happy. I'm honestly very, very happy that this issue rose in me at one point and that I was able to heal it. Really happy, because you could sacrifice yourself for the sake of others for that long. At one point, your inner child will wake up and demand its share. So this is greed. Anger is a popular issue, destructive issue in people who are masculine, who have a lot of masculine energy. And usually this is what happens. A child with a lot of masculine energy has a lot of fire or a lot of air, is very impatient, maybe even somewhat comes off a little aggressive, and the parents, they try to suppress that aggression. They start to punish the child, you know, or like if the child would do something like slam the doors or something, the parents would like ground him or her, and so this aggression is just stays inside, the anger. So where the anger comes from? The anger comes from suppressed emotions that the child could not stand for himself, could not prove his point, could not fight through, you know, for his point. And this is usually, I see it in my clients that are masculine. I see the suppressed emotions. I see this anger when it raises up, not towards me, but I mean when they speak about something, I can feel this fire that's like coming out from their mouths. But this is a very destructive feeling. I actually worked with a couple clients who had these issues very, very much, and it destroys not only them and their health, but it destroys their relationship, not only with men, relationship with their families, with their children, with everybody around, with their friends. So anger is something you really need to work on. You see, like I put, anger is inner child is abused and nobody is there to protect her, and that doesn't allow it to fight. So it's basically like an animal sitting in the cage, and you could not allow the animal to come out, and you don't allow the animal to fight. Really very sad. I never had this issue. Why? Because I don't have that much masculinity, so whatever. I never really felt like I want to fight. Yeah, I had other issues like the next one, depression. Depression is a little child that is lost and needs guidance. It happens to people who have a lot of energy of water. Energy of water becomes like it stays and then becomes stale, becomes really like a swamp. So it's depression is very often in people energy of water, and usually this is a child that's very tired of looking for kind of support, very tired for looking for some kind of guidance, and I will tell you how to get rid of that. The next problem is self-sabotage or procrastination. This usually happens when the child was in the family and any kind of ideas were not supported. So the child would start drawing and the parents would be like, no, I don't think you are a good artist, no, doesn't look too good. I mean, look, you put a face and the nose looks too big or something, or the child will start, I don't know, dancing, and the parents are like, so parents basically never supported the child like this. Maybe they supported in particular areas, but not in everything. Like my parents were very supportive in certain ways. I mean, I started learning German like at 5 years old, and then English, you know, plus I already knew Russian, Ukrainian, so it was like they were very supportive about that, but certain things they were not supportive. Like me soon was not like a thing. So when I grew up, when I became an adult, I was very motivated in certain areas of my life, and I was self-sabotaging myself in other areas, like candles. I started making candles, but I never was especially creative, and creations, like being creative, was not supported by my parents much. So when I started making candles, first of all, I was hiding it from everybody. Second, but it was given to me. As you know, I'm a Reiki master, and I was supposed to do some good in the society, like through some kind of work, and it came to one of my colleagues in a dream or whatever, I don't know, in the vision, that I should make candles, and I supported it. So I started making those candles, but it took me almost like a year and a half to even think it through, then to start making them, then to offer them to people. I mean, it was work. I mean, my candles are amazing. If you had them, you would. I mean, I love them. I miss them so much. I think the first thing I will do as soon as I will be back in Miami is I will make myself a candle. But it took me that long time. I was procrastinating and self-sabotaging myself because of that, because I didn't have support when I was a little kid. So my little kid right now, at that time, didn't have that support. I remember even the first candle I made, it was like chubby like this. Usually my candles are like this, but it was fat, and so it was not very much decorated like I do now. And I remember I sent this to my family, and my mom was like, looks a little fat, and I'm like you see, but I knew why my mom said that, because that's how I felt about my candle the same way. So I bought new molds, and I tried to play around, and I did make a new candle. The candle that I'm making right now, amazing, looks good, smells good, works good, it's just perfect. So, but it took me some time. Now, self-sabotaging is something, if you have that, if you're guilty of that, then your inner child just needs moral support, and that's it. Nothing else. Needs encouragement. Yes, do it. I mean, what's the worst can happen? Make 10 candles of, you know, different kind of molds. You can buy even the whole set of molds and see which one works for you the best. So and that's it. Okay, so this is the destructive feelings. I think these are the most common ones. Tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, maybe there is more that I don't remember. Maybe I never was met with them or something. But I think jealousy, envy, anger, depression, these are like really like the main ones. And then greed, procrastinations are probably in the second line. So how to get rid of them? You probably already caught up with me, and you probably know what I'm going to say. But the first step, you need to heal your inner child. There's no other thing to do, honestly. You can compare yourself to anybody else. So your friend got herself a rich boyfriend, so you got yourself a richer boyfriend. Then your friend got, you know, this car, you got even better car. Or your friend is having a successful business, you got yourself a successful business. Yeah, it's good for your growth, but if you are never satisfied with it, you know, it's like you're not growing. You're just exhausting your body to get something that you are not even happy with. You know, like it's a momentarily happiness that doesn't stick at all, and that would never work, obviously. I mean, again, it seems like you're progressing in life, but you are not growing emotionally. You are here to grow emotionally, to develop your energy somehow. This is not a development of energy. This is constant competition. At one point, you will just drop, and you're like, okay, I can't do this no more. Let her win. Especially if the friend doesn't even know that you're competing that much. I had actually a colleague who was competing with me, and I didn't even know. And I thought, what a good girl. And then she told me, she's like, I have been watching and competing with you for the last 2 years. I'm like, she did, really? I didn't even know we were in competition. But anyways, you need to work with your inner child. You need to heal the relationship with your inner child. And I want to tell you a story. I have a younger brother. He is 1 year and 2 weeks younger than me. So when my mom was pregnant with my brother, I guess there was some kind of, I guess he was not positioned right or something, so she had to spend some time in the hospital. And because she was in the hospital and was very little, my grandparents were summoned to come and stay with me because my father was working and my mom was in the hospital, and I was a little under 1 year old. So I was with them all the time. I mean, all the time that my mom was absent, I was with them. And when my mom came back with my brother, I mean, I don't know, it took maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month, but a child like that easily forgets, because remember, the mind is not as developed. So when my mom came back, I would not recognize her. I obviously don't remember this. This is what I was told, and we have like pictures where I'm like pushing away my mom because I don't know who she is. And it took some time. It took like maybe a couple hours for me to remember who she is, and and hug her and everything. What I want to say is that when my mom had my sister, I was already 6 years old, so I knew my mom was in the hospital, that I will have a sister, and blah blah blah, like this. You see, it was different. My mind was already more developed. What I want to say is that when you start working and healing your inner child, don't expect fast results. Your inner child will be very cautious with you because you've been not on the same page with the inner child for a long time. So give yourself time. It might take months. Like I said, I healed already all my issues, but sometimes some of them resurface because my inner child has maybe some doubts. Usually it resurfaces when I'm weak and my inner child does not get enough love. What do I do in those moments? I just sit and I tell myself, I love myself, like this, or do my meditation. So it does happen. I brought you this example because I want you to understand. You see, I didn't jump into my mom's arms as soon as she came, and it took a couple hours for me to kind of let her in, because who knows, she might leave again. I could not be getting accustomed to her. So be very, very be very patient with your inner child. I put here, I frankly hardly ever have any destructive feelings, and when I do, I go inside, and that's what you should do. Only inside. Outside will not do nothing. So you need to heal your inner child. How are you going to do it? You can do my meditation. I have a meditation. It's just called like this: heal your inner child. You probably will cry. It's guided charge meditation. You will probably cry a few times. You will do. Ideally, you need to do it for at least 2 weeks. You really, really need to have a strong bond with the child inside of you, with the person inside of you, really. So do that meditation for at least 2 weeks. Now, if you are, after 2 weeks, you're still crying every time you do it, then continue doing it. You need to come to the point when you're doing it that you're neutral, somewhat positive. I did a meditation like this. It was not my meditation, but it was somewhat like this. I think mine is a little deeper and better. But I did something like this for almost half a year. And I was crying and crying, then I would stop crying and I would cry again. And until I was doing the meditation, I felt like, yeah, feels good, that's it. And then I knew it was done. I was basically done with the meditation. But you can do, if you don't want to do my meditation, you can do any other meditation. Just remember, it has to be on healing your inner child. If you don't want to do any meditations at all, then imagine, if you don't want to do a meditation at all, imagine a little girl inside of you, or a little boy, if you're a guy who's watching, somewhere over here. So there is a little girl. Ideally would be if you imagine that little girl like you were when you were growing up. Like I remember myself, I had this 2 ponytails and like this ribbon kind of made it. And I remember that picture, and I was recreating that girl from that picture. Because obviously I don't remember how I looked when I was 2, but I had the pictures, and I always recreate myself from that picture. So the little girl inside of me is that little girl with those two big tails like this. Imagine that girl. So you will be imagining, not me, you will be imagining yourself. You when you were little. Imagine that little girl. Imagine that you are making a connection with her. Imagine that she's staying in front of you and you basically talking to her, you know, listening to her. Maybe she has something to say. Maybe you're giving her a hug. Maybe you just want, you go with her and play with dolls or whatever. I don't know what you were doing when you were little. You will feel it. You will feel what your inner child wants. Ideally, you see, why I do want you to do a meditation, because meditation is guided. I'm telling you step by step what to do. But if you don't want to do meditation, you can just lean on the couch and just imagine that there is a little girl sitting next to you and you're talking to her and you're listening to her and she will tell you everything. You just allow yourself to connect to yourself. That's what you basically do. You need to, at the end of any kind of meditation, you need to feel real warmth and connection with that little girl. You need to really feel like, my God, I'm going to do anything for this girl. Imagine if you would, your neighbors has a child and that child is crying. Wouldn't you stop and you ask, hey, what's happening? You know, how can I help you? Wouldn't you do everything for the child to stop crying? Of course you will. If you have kids yourself, wouldn't you do anything for them? Of course you will. You will, I don't know, sacrifice yourself just so they would be happy. So why not to do it for the most important child in your life? The child is inside of you. The child is always with you. You need to heal that connection first so you can give enough love to others. This is what you need to do. You need to also promise your inner child to always be on her side, and you need to stuck to that promise, like really, really. You know, if you promise your inner child that nobody's getting better present than you, no matter what's happening, you have to be faithful, because you will get universe will give you situations where you will be checked whether you truly meant it or not, and that happened to me. I remember one time I was like done paying, splitting bills evenly and paying for everybody's drinks and everything, and ending up with somehow $300-500 bill when I had like a salad. I couldn't understand this, and I promised to my inner child that I will never do this again. And I remember that like 2 days after, I was invited to go to this party, and again I was with this bill, and it took me a lot of courage to say, hey, I'm not paying this. I mean, I really, really I was angry, and usually, and I was still debating, should I not, but I was like, okay. I just 2 days ago I promised myself not to do it, you know, and I did. I basically, because I was so true to myself, the girl, you know, she was like my acquaintance, and she's like, you're right, you know, why should we? And basically I just only paid, and the girl that was organizing, another my friend, she said, yeah, you know, don't just put whatever you guys had, you know, let the guys pay the rest. And I was really, really grateful. I was like, why didn't I do it before? And the money that I saved, so I spent on myself. I bought myself something really nice. So that was you need to really promise and stick to it, like really, really. Then what you need to do, you need to be always on your, not only you need to be like the best cheerleader for your inner child. For example, maybe you're a grown-up woman right now and you don't know how to flirt, or I don't know, maybe you're not a very good communicator, but you're a very good listener or something like that. So you need to basically praise what you have in what you're good at. Don't focus on what you're lacking, praise what you're good at. It is really important, because you know how they say there is a lid for every bucket, so that's basically it, you know. Yeah, I attract men that love me for my, I know how to flirt, I know how to speak to them, I'm so playful, they love that. But then there are men that probably that maybe don't like that, and who would love to have somebody who just loves to listen, you know. The men that love to brag, I think, or something. So praise what your child is good at. You know, if you are envious because your friends are maybe more successful, well, there must be something good in you. Maybe you are more, maybe you have a stronger relationship. Maybe those successful friends don't have a relationship. Or maybe if you are single right now, maybe you have the opportunity to travel like me. I mean, if I would have a serious family with kids and everything, I mean, would I be able to travel like this? Probably not, I don't know. Find something and praise that. Then you need to find the destructive feeling, that destructive feeling that really is heavy on your life. Usually you wouldn't have all of them. It's usually one or two, the most. You need to find it. Why it's important to find it? Because you need to heal it. Now, ideally, once you heal the relationship with your inner child, you will feel the inner child. You will really be bonding with your inner child. You wouldn't need to do nothing. You will see. Nothing will be bothering you. There won't be no situations where you will be the situations will rise up to like this situation with the bill for me, but for the most part you wouldn't feel envy or jealousy, because you know that you're loved by yourself. You love the child inside of you, and that's it. Now, but if that's still just to be sure, find the destructive feeling. Make sure though to find the destructive feeling, because if you think that you are jealous but you're not jealous, you're envious, it's completely different feelings. You see, jealousy is you're afraid somebody will take from you. Envy is somebody has something that you want. They're like opposites, you see. So you need to find what it is. Now, if it's, let's imagine it's anger, find what your child needs protection from right now. You wouldn't just feel anger just because. There must be something that your inner child feels threatened by. What is that? Why you feel anger? So for example, you went to the salon and they make you a manicure not so good, and because you're suppressing your anger, you're like, yeah, okay, thank you. You leave, but you're boiling inside. So your inner child is basically, hey, why didn't you stood up for me? So instead of you just smiling and leaving, you could say, listen, this work is not done good, do something about it, or I'm not going to pay, I want to see the manager. You see, when you stand up for yourself, there won't be no anger. Anger is suppressed protection of the inner child. Protect, find that reason and protect, and show your inner child that you will stay. You don't have to fight. You see, most of the time you can just speak, and that anger will go away. But because you're so afraid from childhood that if you will be aggressive, if you will be angry, if you will express your anger, you are a bad person, usually you don't even express that anger, and that's wrong. Now, if it's, so that's the anger. And for the most part, your inner child just wants to know that you will protect. Really, it's not even about the actions or the results. It's mostly about that you are willing to do something for your inner child, and that's important. Or for example, if you have envy, then you just need to talk to yourself and say, well, if you love your inner child, you wouldn't have this problem. But let's imagine I met somebody and somebody is much better than me. I don't know in what, but let's imagine. And so I would say to myself, yeah, okay, so yeah, maybe she's better in, I don't know, in what. What could somebody be better than me? Somebody can drink alcohol, so can go to all the parties. Somebody who is more social, let's say somebody who is more extroverted, right? So let's imagine, and I will be like, okay, so this person is more extroverted, that's nice, but I am, I don't know, there's so many good qualities that I don't know what to say, but I'm better in one-on-one communication, or I'm more responsible. I'm not sure. So this is what you need to find. You need to find something to glorify your life. Your life is as glamorous as hers, just different. Now, it is, as I said, it is important to find the right feeling, and you need to romanticize your life. If you have envy, then you need to romanticize your life. If you have jealousy, then you need to diversify your life. You see, that's why the feeling that you will find is important. Why? Because in envy, you're thinking that somebody's life is better, so you need to make sure that your life is glamorous. But in jealousy, you're afraid that one thing will be taken from you and you will never have it again. But if your life is diversified, if you will have a whole bunch of admirers, okay, so you taking my man, that's fine, it's like 1,000 in one block. So it is important. If you have some destructive feelings and you're not sure where this is coming from and how to fix them, write them in the comments. I will respond. I think I went through all of them. Now, if you don't want, let's imagine you don't want to do my meditation, you don't want to heal your inner child, you don't believe in that, but you still do want to do something, this is what you will do. You will put the alarm for 10 minutes every single day for at least 2-3 months, and you would sit and you would tell yourself, I love you and I am loved. So rotate, I love you, and I am loved. Like this. You need to feel really, really warm. Your whole body, your whole back will be warm, your whole chest, your whole body will be like lit up. 10 minutes a day, every day for at least 2 months. If you don't want to do the meditation with the inner child, healing your inner child would be better. But this would also be good because you will prove yourself that you are loved. You are loved by you. Again, I would rather do the meditation for the child because there is an inner child in you, and that inner child will always be, even if you are 100 years old, there still will be a child that needs your support, that needs your love. But you can skip that and do this instead. All right, that's it for this subject. I know this is useful, I don't hope. Please send it to people who are suffering from feelings like this. Again, if you have any other feelings, please do put them in the comments. I will comment on them. Please like, share, and comment this video. Let me know what you think. To sum it up really fast, any destructive feeling needs to be worked on, because it's like you going through life a little crippled and you could not do that. What do? You basically need to heal your inner child. All the destructive feelings come from the lack of love or support or protection to your inner child. Your inner child needs to know that the child is the priority, always protected, always guided, always supported, always loved. If you heal your inner child, all these feelings will disappear. I'm telling you. I used to be in depressions for weeks. I mean, last time I was in depression maybe 10, 15, no, not maybe 10, maybe 12 years ago, like that. The greed came up like when I started working on my energy, because I would really suppress any kind of thought of greed. What else? Anxiousness was also in me often. Sometimes it does arise and I'm like, okay, stop it. That's not, we're going to get through that. Also, self-sabotage sometimes comes up, but again, I'm just supporting my inner child and telling you, like, it will be perfect. We've done a lot of things already. This one will be perfect as well. So what I want to say, heal your inner child. If you want, do it with my meditation. If not, do it with somebody else's meditation. If you have therapists, do it with them. If you want to come to me on consultation, do it with me. But that thing needs to be done. That the bridge needs to be crossed. Now, if you don't want to work on your inner child at all, then 10 minutes a day, you sit and I'm loved until your whole body is lit up. You will see how fast your life will be transformed. So this is the second. Make sure find the destructive feelings. Otherwise, you'll be fixing the wrong thing. You see, like if you're feeling jealousy and you will glamorize your life, it will be strange because you're afraid something will be taken from you. Now, if you have anger issues and you will give yourself support instead of protection, also will not do nothing. You can say to yourself, yeah, you can do everything, but what does it have to do? I mean, your inner child feels like it was threatened. You need to give protection. You see, you need to speak up. You need to allow yourself to say something for people who maybe mistreated you somehow. So make sure find the right issue, and then go from there. Again, it's very easy. I mean, if it's envy, you just need to romanticize your life. If it's jealousy, you need to diversify your life. You need to make sure. If it's anxiousness, you need to give support to yourself. You basically need to ground yourself. You need to tell yourself you will be fine, like that constantly if you need to. If it's greed, you need to give yourself as much as you give others, or even more. If it's anger, you need to stand up for yourself. You need to speak up. You could not suppress your anger. If it's depression, you basically are lost and need the guidance, and what you need to do, you just need to focus on something exciting. You need to see a bright perspective. You see, when the child fell down and is crying, you wouldn't be saying, oh yes, I know it's painful. You would say, oh, look at this, look what I have this beautiful toy. So this is the same, you know, you just need to switch your focus on a brighter perspective. You should always have some kind of something amazing in the future. And if it's self-sabotage, then just give yourself support. I mean, you can do all of it. All right, that's it. If you have questions, again, please write them any other destructive feelings that you think you have. I will gladly comment on them, and send this video to anybody who can use it. Bye everybody, I will see you in the next video. Bye, enjoy your day.